Yeah. It is now 7 p.m. and I'll call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Beloit City Council. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2014, and we're at 100 State Street, Beloit, Wisconsin in the City Hall Forum. Can I have a roll call?
Roll call shows all councilors present.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 is special orders of the day and announcements. We have none this evening. Item 4 is public hearings. 4A.
A resolution authorizing a conditional use permit to allow alcohol sales in a PLI, Public Lands and Institutions District, for the property located at 2222 Chopier Road, Our Lady of Assumption Church. The Plan Commission recommended approval, 5-0.
Ms. Christensen.
OLA is primarily used for religious services, child care, and education, and their administrative offices. These uses will remain the same. They're just seeking a conditional use permit to have alcohol sales, which are intended to occur during special events only. Alcohol sales are a conditional use in the PLI district. Plan Commission did review this item on August 18th and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the conditional use permit, subject to the conditions which are listed in the new resolution that I gave you tonight. The resolution which was in the packet didn't include the correct conditions that came from Plan Commission. And those conditions are that this conditional use permit authorizes the sale, possession, and consumption of alcohol at the subject property for a maximum of 15 events per year. Prior to establishment of the conditional use, the applicant shall obtain the proper alcohol beverage licenses, and any major changes in the adopted conditions or use of the property shall be approved by the Plan Commission and City Council by amending this conditional use permit. The Planning and Building Services Director may approve minor changes administratively. We did send a notice out to the neighborhood, as you can see by the mailing list, and we did not hear any opposition from the neighborhood.
Thank you. We'll now open the public hearing on item 4A. If anyone wishes to speak on item 4A, please approach the podium now. Second call for anyone wishing to speak on item 4A. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak on item 4A. If not, I'll close the public hearing and open for questions or a motion. Councilor DeForest.
I have questions. Thank you for being here. I have a couple of questions, if I might ask them, please, if that's okay with you, Mr. President.
Absolutely.
I'm wondering the nature of the events in which alcohol will be sold, if there will be minors present during those events, and what you will do to make sure that those minors do not have access to the alcohol.
First of all, my name is Randy Gracialny, and I'm here on behalf of Our Lady of the Assumption Parish. The types of events that we will have for this will be, we have a concert that we have alcohol or beer at, and perhaps wine. We can only do that twice. We haven't decided for sure which will be. And then we do have a couple of different dinners that are open to the public that we charge admission for. As part of the conditional use permit or the other licensure, we will have bartenders there for that. And we also understand that for those events that we cannot have children that are not accompanied by their parents present as well, or minors, I should say, not necessarily children. And so we will be checking to be sure if there's any question about ages, and we will be observing to be sure that it's not shared in a way that it shouldn't be.
Could I ask a follow-up? So you said these events will be open to the public, but you would be sure that the minors were present with their parents. How will you do that then?
Correct. We will just ask them if they come in if they are with their parents, and basically if they're not, we'll have to turn whoever it is away.
Okay, so you will be relying on the bartender to ID everyone that comes to purchase alcohol?
Correct.
All right, and what would you estimate would be the largest number of attendees at such an event? I'm just wondering how feasible that is.
At any particular event that we would have, I would anticipate it to be 150 to 200 people total, but I would also estimate that of those, there will maybe be a quarter of them that would be consuming alcoholic beverages.
Okay. The bartenders that you'll be using, these will be with a company that you're having cater in, or
Well, they'll in most all cases, I would imagine they will be parishioners.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And for most of these events also, the vast majority of people that are present are parishioners that come to these events as well. But since we're charging for either the alcohol or the event, we need to have the conditional use permit and then the temporary Class B license as a follow-up to that for those events.
Okay. Thank you. I believe those are all my questions.
Sure, thank you.
Are there any other questions at this time?
Second.
Moved by Lupke, second by Kelly. Is there further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? This is approved 7-0. Item 5 is citizens' participation. We have reached the point in the meeting for members of the public to speak to the council about issues that are coming before us or may come before us in the future. The council will not act on any requests this evening unless the item you are speaking about is already on our agenda, but we may act on requests at a future meeting, or we may refer a speaker to staff for assistance. We ask that you hold your comments to 3 minutes or less and avoid making any personal attacks. If anyone wishes to speak during citizens' participation, please approach the podium at this time. Second call for anyone wishing to speak during citizens' participation. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak during citizens' participation. If not, we'll close citizens' participation and move on to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda. The consent agenda this evening consists of only item 6A. Does anyone wish to discuss item 6A? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move approval. Second.
Moved by Haynes, second by Hendricks. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? This is approved 7-0. Item 7 is ordinances. We have none. 8 is appointments. We have none. Which brings us to item 9, councilor activities and upcoming events. Councilor DeForest.
Thank you, and I apologize, I'm a bit under the weather, but I do want to begin by thanking Tom Casper for his years of service to the city. I deeply appreciate his personal counsel to me as a city councilor and how he has supported us in this endeavor, and he has served our city well, so I just wanted to thank him for his service, and I look forward to seeing more creative art produced with this time off. Secondly, I would like to make a statement that I would like to read. I had held off on making this statement because I did not want it to appear that I was grandstanding or politicizing this issue due to the recent assembly election. I am deeply concerned about the increased violence we've experienced in our city. I would have hoped for a specific response from our leadership. As of yet, we still have not had a media conference sharing information with the public or outlining the city's plan for response. Each year, I've asked my city council colleagues to increase the number of police officers the city has available on the streets. In response, I've been told that we cannot afford it. When I was pressed to name what the city should give up in order to fund more police personnel, I have responded that the least significant impact on service to residents would be to decrease the residential inspection staff and horticultural crews. This is always met with protests that my suggestion is absolutely not an option. I understand the importance of maintaining quality housing stock in our city and how important it is for our city to look good so people want to come and stay here. But no beauty in the world is going to make up for it if people do not feel safe here. I now say to my colleagues that not doing all in our power to make sure our residents are as safe as reasonably possible is not an option. We need to strike more of a balance. Instead of focusing all of the investment for the future of our city in buildings and grounds, we have to balance it with investments in programming for our youth and more time on community policing, where officers have the time to get out of their cars, have more of a positive presence, and can develop meaningful relationships with residents. We need to invest more in community policing than in SWAT response. I am requesting that those in leadership, our city manager, chief of police, and city council president, communicate with the residents about a plan of action. We cannot continue business as usual and think that status quo will have any chance of intervening and turning the tide when it comes to violent acts in our city. It is not acceptable to continue to think that just making the city look good will be enough. We have committed an incredible amount of resources to do just that, and we need to strike a balance. Thank you.
Councilor Lupke.
I, too, have been honored the last decade and a half, first in the school district as a principal, then the last few years working as a city councilor to work with Tom Casper, who is a class act. I think I express the sentiments of my fellow councilors when I say that he's acted with dignity and class and wisdom and humility over the last years that I've known him, and as long as he's been in this office. So I've been honored to know you, Tom. Thank you for your service. That's all I have.
Councilor Hendricks.
I just want to say that I'm excited for the new school year. A lot of all of the students went back today, and I haven't heard anything. So I'm assuming they had a safe and happy first day of school. So I look forward to seeing more of things that go on in the school district, as well as happy children in our community. That's all.
Councilor Kincaid.
I don't have anything.
Vice President Haynes.
Yes, I'd like to go ahead and say how profoundly melancholy it makes me to think that we are not going to have you sitting in that far left seat, Tom. Your steadiness has always been greatly appreciated in ways I can't properly express. I know that Beth will certainly be able to do everything she needs to do to move the office forward, but in the ways that you bring forward, you're irreplaceable. So thank you very much for that.
Councilor Kelly.
Well, I was at the schools today, and I actually went to a bunch of schools today, and all the secretaries, they were all reporting that everything was going smoothly. So it was a good day. And thank you to Tom, even though I just got here, so I really haven't had much time to get to know you. But maybe we'll see you around more. Other stuff, too. Thank you, Anna. That's it.
And I also wanted to thank you, Tom, for your service. It's been a pleasure working with you for the past 3.5 years, and appreciating your advice and the warmth and calm demeanor that you bring to all of our issues that we need your advice on. So we will certainly miss you, but we wish you the very best in your retirement, and know that you have many hobbies that you'll enjoy having more time for and spending more time with your wife, and wish you the very best.
Thank you. Thank you all.
I also had a chance to attend Welcome to Our Town last Friday, which was an event as a partnership between Beloit College and Friends of the Riverfront to bring some of our new Beloit College students down to the river to see the concert and get some free custard from Culver's and see a lighted boat parade afterwards that was able to go forward a little bit even though it started raining by that point. So had a great time doing that and getting our students off campus to see our riverfront. Also just wanted to assure the community that over this summer, as we've had unfortunate acts of violence, that I've had numerous conversations on a weekly, if not daily basis with our city manager and as needed with our police chief to see how we're responding to these, and that about a month from today we'll be looking at a budget proposal for our next year, and I'm sure that discussions about police staffing will continue as part of that conversation. So just want to assure the community that those discussions are taking place and will continue both privately and publicly. Item 10 is City Manager's presentation. We have none. Item 11 is reports from boards and city officers. We have none. Which brings us to item 12. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Hendrick, second by Kelly. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That's approved 7-0. We're adjourned at 7:14.
7:15, what is that? Did you take a picture of that clock? Whoa, it's been one shorter than that?
Record keeper.
Yes.
Not enough to hire a police officer.